Okay, Torah Mishpatim. Let's learn this Maimer on page 156, second column. Okay, the pasuk says, the Torah says when the people behave, so Hashem said there won't be a meshakel. Meshakel means a woman who loses a baby, or a barren woman b'artzecha. It's mispa yamecha amali. The days of your life are filled, meaning you'll live a long life. In Meidazais, it's known there's a land up there, a land of life. That from it comes life and sustenance. Just like this physical land that produces physical produce, so there's a spiritual heaven that produces spiritual sustenance. Hashem lasis kol mitzvahs to do all its mitzvahs. That a person should do them, and by doing them live. Chaim amitim, a real true life. Just like the physical earth down here, that it grows all delicacies. Okay, just like down here, the earth produces produce for sustenance. And without that produce, you're not going to be able to live. Like he says, it's not going to help. A person can have an abundance of gold and silver. If there's no food to buy with it, it's worthless. So the same thing, just like Gashmis, has to have an earth to produce food in order to sustain ourselves. The same thing, the spiritual sustenance of Torah and Aveda. They added Chaim El Yenim, like it says, okay, plural. Skip the parentheses. The Nik, and it's called Oretz. Eretz HaChayim. And it says, Ki Chmei Oretz Alzu Agashmis. Just like that. So nowadays, like this. The Rebbe says, the analogy is from the earthly earth to the heavenly earth. Therefore, just like the earthly earth produces life, the spiritual earth produces life. Therefore, just like the physical earth, it doesn't just grow. The earth doesn't just grow things. You have to plant it and plow it, the whole works. By planting and then the power of vegetation that the Eibishter gave it. Just like the physical earth needs to be planted, cultivated, and then it produces. The same thing, the spiritual life. Comes from Hashem. Hashem gives the power in the heavenly earth to give produce, but the person has to work to plow and to plant. Just like the physical earth, you will not sustain yourself if you don't plant. The same thing, the spiritual earth, the spiritual earth needs the avodah of a person. Yeah, Hashem gives the power in the earth to grow things, but if you don't work at it, then you ain't going to get nothing. And the same thing in the spiritual thing.
Even if it
you'll figure it out soon. The light which was planted for the tzaddik. And he says, it's not the adjective name Madrei Tzaddik Amiti. It doesn't mean when you say V'amech Kulam Tzaddikim, everybody Tzaddikim, it doesn't mean the Tzaddik of Tanya. Because we're not. What it means is Ratzalema. Madreigas Adam Kosher Sheina Rasha, like it says Tzaddik V'Rasha Lei Kaman. Okay, so therefore every Yid is a tzaddik. What do you mean a tzaddik? Is a good person.
If it's not a Rasha, it's a tzaddik?
Huh?
If it's not a Rasha, it's tzaddik?
Yeah, tzaddik v'rasha lo yikame. You're either a rasha or a tzaddik. Yeah, but again, most people, he said, "V'amir kulam tzaddikim." I mean, generally speaking, all the people are
But
good.
if you do something righteous, then you're a tzaddik.
The ard yaves savayot shikos elov, and the ard that's planted to the tzaddik is the avos shamanim shechlodem that comes from the person. He needs a ruah beretz chaim tzaddik. That is planted. In other words, what they wish to say, there is a power of semeach, of vegetation, in the heavenly earth. Or Zeror la tzaddik. The light is planted, Zeror is planted for the tzaddik in the heavenly earth. But in order to reveal it and produce it, you need to have the aved of the person. And he says, what it means is to be connected to Hashem, to cling to Him. This is what a person needs to realize. And he has to know trustworthy. He has to believe with the real emunah. That all this love and fear that we have is a gift miteis elokim, is a gift from above. That Hashem gave us the koyach of the plant of vegetation in the heavenly earth. Latzmich avas Hashem v'yiraseh apanov v'einim shachem mikoyach adam evid atzmi. In other words, like this. Just like a person, if he plants a place and it doesn't grow, he could do whatever he wants. You can take sand or take a desert and you can plant and plow and do everything. Nothing's going to grow. A person needs to realize that the real power of vegetation comes from Hashem, from the power of vegetation that the earth has. Our avodah is to reveal it. So he said, first of all, like the Yerushalmi has an expression, Maimin b'chaye olam v'zereya. When a Jew plants, Maimin b'chaye, he believes in God and he plants. Why? Because when you plant, you have to realize you need God to make the water and to make this and the power of vegetation. So he says, a person needs to understand that this whole revelation from above, that in the spiritual earth, that power of vegetation of Ava and Yira comes from Hashem. His Aveda is to reveal it. Therefore, the whole Iker Aveda, Leitir Alavis Shemi Atzmi, Sheyehu Ha'eved Hu Ha'ayed. Okay? He says like this. A person needs to believe it's nothing to do with him. As the Pasuk uses the expression, you're going to say, Keichi va'etzim yadi asali asachayel hazeh. A person is going to come along and say, my power, my brains, my cheating makes me the fortune in business. He said that's mamish contrary to the whole concept of Amun and Hashem. Now the Rebbe is saying, Yahir has to believe that it's not his doing, it's not his avodah, it's not his plowing and planting, it's Hashem. The whole thing is Hashem. Hashem wants that we should be part of it to reveal it. In other words, Hashem could have made it, obviously, that all of a sudden out of the ground comes everything. And not only that, the Gemara says, the Gemara discusses this with one of the rabbis, with a guy. He says, Hashem could have made finished bread grow. Hashem could have made a loaf of bread. Just pick up the loaf of bread and eat it. So he said, no, you have to bring them the wheat. And then you have to grind it. And then you have to this. And then you have to... Why did he wish to do it? Because he wanted our part of it. I wanted our avodah. No freebies. Hashem wants that we should do the avodah. But at the same time, a Jew needs to understand that he is nothing. It's really... Without, again, a Jew could work day and night and nothing's going to happen if he doesn't have the Keichat Tzemech Boretz. Okay, Kol Iker Avedose. His whole Aveda should be loyalty alav Hashem mi'atzmei, not to love Hashem of his own doing. I am the learning, I'm the davening, I'm the whole thing. Kim Kamesha Kosuv, Va'avaditem es Hashem Elokeichem. Like the pasuk says, you should serve God. Upi lefi pshutein moving. It says like this: you have to serve God. Now, normally, when somebody serves you, you gain something by it. Like this, you're not going to get it; they're going to serve you, so you get it. He says, "Lefi pshutein moving." V'chihu yizbarach lavidasi hu tzarich. Does God need our aveda? Aveda means I serve you, which means without me you're incomplete, and I complete you by serving you. Whatever the service may be. You need something, you don't have it. A guy sells it to you, he serves you, so he brings, he makes it happen for you. What does it mean? You have to serve. Does Hashem lack anything that he needs our service to do anything for him? If you do anything, what do you give him anyway? So what does the pasuk mean? We should serve God. Why? What is the purpose of a Jew serving Hashem? Hashem doesn't need us. The Inyan is like this. Ki havaya, what is it says, Va'avadatem es havaya Elokeichem. He said, what is havaya? Haya, heva, v'yiyah. Like we learned, the letters Yud, Kei, Vav, Kei, if you switch them around, you have Haya, Hoveh, and Yihiyah. V'ani Hashem le'shanis. And that's the level of God that doesn't change, meaning he's so disconnected with world, so infinite that the finite world doesn't change him in any way whatsoever. And nothing is in comparison to him. So what's the Aveda of the Jew? Now the Rebbe says the meaning is like this. Va'avaditem, you need to serve God to such an extent that Hashem becomes Elokeichem. That the infinite, the supernatural, becomes Elokeichem. It becomes your nature. In other words, the pasuk is not saying that Hashem needs our avodah because he's lacking and we complete him. He says, no. What is avaditem es Hashem Elokeichem doesn't mean serve God. It means that the level of Hashem, the infinite, becomes Elokeichem, our nature, our koyach, ad shebechin, azuti eschem bechin Elokeichem, ki iluhu Elokim shalochem. Meaning, we internalize it. When you say something is yours, that means you have ownership over it. If you don't have ownership over it, it's not yours. Like the halacha is in Gemara, Shulchan Aruch, Mishpatim, something which is forbidden to benefit from, it's not yours. You might physically own it, but if it's forbidden to benefit from, it's not your ownership. Why? Because ownership means you have the right to use it. It's yours, meaning it's yours, not somebody else's. Elokeichem means it's your God. Because it has to be so ingrained, internalized, permeating within you that it becomes yours. What is becoming yours? The level of Havaya.
Isn't this reverse of Shema?
No. Do you have the same thing? Baruch, Atah, to bring down Atah, that Havaya becomes Elokeinu. It's the same thing. Same thing. It should be Hashem Echad in the seven heavens and earth, meaning in the world, it's yours. What?
It sounds counterintuitive because it seems natural that you take the Elohim and you take it to Hashem. It's much better if that's the direction by our deeds.
No, that's the opposite.
How is it
When
done?
you make the infinite power of God your nature,
But
that means your
one thing-
nature then is infinite.
But
Your nature becomes supernatural.
What does that mean?
that we have powers beyond our abilities.
But Elohim is something.
Give an example. You're subconscious.
We overcome the difficulties of life. That's not normal how you could do it. If you think about it, the challenges of life are something that we really can't overcome. And yet the history of the Jewish people, we mentioned the Shabbos, yeah? The history of the Jewish people, our existence doesn't make sense in logic. It doesn't. After the Greeks and the Romans and the Inquisitions and the Hitlers and we shouldn't be here today. The big Roman Empire doesn't exist. The Greek Empire doesn't exist. The Babylonian, they don't exist. And we exist. That's not normal.
How did we make a supernatural or natural?
Oh, so he's saying that's the Avodah. He's not done yet. So he's going to say, but the Avodah of the Jew is to make that spiritual produce revealed. Just like our Avodah, plowing, planting, reveals, even though we understand it's not me, it's the power of vegetation in the earth. I just need to reveal it. It's not me, I planted, so I'm a great guy, so much grew.
You revealed the true godliness, correct?
Correct.
And what's the essence of God? Not Elohim, it's Hashem.
No,
So
it's
therefore
above
you have to
both.
transform
It's
God,
above
Elohim to Hashem, not the other way around.
Higher.
It's above both.
The rabbi's going higher.
I don't know where you heard the Ten Commandments last Shabbos, but in the Ten Commandments it says, Anechi Hashem Elokecha. Correct?
Right.
Now Hashem is the supernatural, Elokecha is the nature,
Correct.
and Anechi is
Above them all.
Above them both.
above all. The essence.
Okay.
Now, how can two opposites combine? Havaya is infinite, Hashem is infinite, Elokim is finite.
Correct.
Now, how can you combine infinite and finite together? There's only one way. By tapping into a level which is above both. That's called Anechi. Or as you make a bracha, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaElam, which means that by bringing down the essence of Hashem, we make Hashem to be Elokeinu. Again, it's not speaking first person speaking. But know that the infinite is a nature, and then through this, God becomes king over the world. Because we are the ones that bring godliness into the world to reveal Elokus. That's our Avodah. To reveal by us planting and cultivating and plowing.
When you say godliness, Elohim or you say Hashem?
Ata, essence.
What's the essence? Elohim or Hashem?
What?
This should be the Kabbana when we say Shema.
Yeah.
So is it Hashem or Elohim?
Above both.
Nothing?
Yeah. Ata, Nechi. First person, second person. Whatever. Hainu, which means an ayin test. That it should be established, ingrained in the mind and in the thought. And felt and grasped in the seichel that godliness exists in such a truth as if we see, that's what it means. When it becomes yours, Hashem becomes yours, means you feel the essence of Hashem. To explain it like this, the Alter Rebbe once said that when he sees a beam of the building, he doesn't see the beam, he sees the power of Hashem in the beam, the godliness in the beam. The Alter Rebbe once asked the Mittel Rebbe on Rosh Hashanah, mit was hast du gedavent? With what did you daven with? So he told him whatever he told him. So he says to the Alter Rebbe, so the son says to the Alter Rebbe, mit was hast du gedavent? And with what did you daven? He said with the standard. You know, with the standard. What do you mean, Alter Rebbe down with the standard? Yeah, put the machs on the standard, I'm sure. He meant, I daven with the standard, meaning, I realize that the standard is Elokus, Einoi Movadi. That even the Gashmis, when the Alter Rebbe said, I don't see the Alter Rebbe is not bluffing. It's not us bluff. The Rebbe said, I see the guy, I don't see the beam, I see the elokus in it. Does that mean the Rebbe banged into the beam because he didn't see it? Of course he saw the beam. So he saw the physical wall. What do you think, banged into walls and said, oh, excuse me? I mean, come on. He didn't see the wall, he saw elokus. The Rebbe saw that the wall, it means it was so ingrained in his heart and brain and everything, that the wall is really God. Eined Milvade. Eined Milvade means the wall is God.
He saw Elokus in the beam.
That doesn't mean he didn't realize it's Gashmiistic, a thing that you can't bang into. That's what it has to be ingrained in our mind and heart and everything, that Elokus is the reality of everything is Elokus. If a person, so how is this practical for you? How is this practical? When a person realizes that the reality of everything that exists in the world, not only they say, they were verbally, talk is cheap, they feel that everything in the world is godliness, then they will be a perfect Jew. Then they won't cheat, they won't lie, they won't do this, they won't do that, they won't do anything wrong. Why? Because they realize that it's all God. You can't go against it.
Rabbi, isn't it the refined side of things that is godliness, or at any level, anything?
At any level.